We come here not to make money. We come here to make music and to be happy. And I said this like months ago to the band, and I like to feel that this is my safe space and I can come here and open up and not feel attacked. Like no matter what I say, oh, this, have a bad day and stuff, but they know that, I still come here because I find peace here. And my personal goal is to play music every single day for the rest of my life and, go touring and have our band be the band that shows that you can, have a dream of being 4 years old and playing around the world and that it can happen.
Banana Chant.
What's going on, guys? We're Banana Chant.
How you doing?
I'm Gio here.
What up?
What's going on?
Hey, I'm Ander.
Lady and fellas.
I am Vanessa.
I'm Tanis.
Yeah, we got Gio, Vanessa, Ander, and Tanis. Oh, and then of course Mr. Chant.
Mr. Chant.
The banana.
What kind of voice does he have? I don't even know.
He makes me want a banana in my office now.
This is a man.
Like a full, large, stuffed banana for every show in honor of Banana
It feels
Chant.
right.
It does.
So bright.
I'm not going to lie. I like the idea. All right, first question. And since we asked all of you, I'm only going to pick out one to start this dialogue. To start the show, we talk about tip for navigating difficult conversations. Ander, you said something that I think is super important. Understanding the goals and everyone's goals within it. Do you have insight into how you do that when you're engaging in a conversation that matters?
I think when you start talking, you start doing yourself a disservice and you're not listening to what other people really want from you. And the best way to move forward in a conversation is to just be able to understand what drives people. And they will reveal that based on what they're saying. That's how, people survive in Game of Thrones, just by finding out what people want, and that's survival of the fittest. You need to know what drives people in order to move forward and get what you want from them. So it plays into what everyone else said, and it's just, you got to listen to them.
It's good. It's something that I don't think enough of us do when we're in a conversation, is really try to understand what the other person. It's like going into a conversation where you're expecting to debate and the other person is just expecting to talk, and that mismatch creates conflict. It's good. Now, Gio, I have to call you out too. You say control emotions.
Yes.
What do you do to control your emotions when shit gets real?
I deal with a lot of emotional people because I am the one who is mostly super deep in the music industry, and a lot of people, they're very close to their work or whatever they do. So I get into I see a lot of things when it happens where people take their emotions too, like they take it too far sometimes, and some people just need to control their emotions. Sometimes in this situation, how you feeling is not the biggest important factor in the argument. It's what's going on, the facts, how to get to the goal and how to do this. And how I do it is that, because before a long time ago, I had a lot of anger issues, and especially now, it's only when I'm really, really tired, because I work a lot of long hours, that I say a lot of things that I don't mean because of the frustration I'm having, and not a lot of people understand the long hours I do at work. But that's fine. I'm not trying to blame anyone on that. They don't understand that. So I have to understand that they don't understand that. They see something else. So sometimes when I do go say random things, I always apologize first. I didn't mean that. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. A lot of people say that, oh, when you say something out loud, you really mean it. We're human beings. Most of the times we don't really mean it. We just are frustrated and we want to be feisty. So it's important to control your emotions and just calm yourself and think of the bigger picture. Just because I'm mad doesn't mean people should listen to me.
But then you realize when those outbursts happen and you say something you don't really mean, that's the truth coming out. And that's why you just need to listen to people. If you're frustrated, your emotions
I hear
words.
I hear a debate happening.
I hear a debate
Well,
that
I
just
think-
started. Let's set goals here.
So I understand.
Banana
I
has
think. Well, I think
What's that? be?
there's some interesting
the
things.
banana has split.
Oh,
The banana has split.
nice.
Gio, I mean, you said a couple of things I think were interesting. I mean, the whole thing, and same with yours, Andrew. I think that that kind of the idea of understanding that they don't understand, because often, I mean, you just said it. Like when you're tired, you're more likely to be emotional or frustrated or angry or whatever it is. So the anger response isn't actually like you're not actually angry at whatever was happening. You're angry because you're just not getting enough sleep. The thing isn't the thing. The thing that you're saying isn't really the main thing in that case.
Is it though?
Is there anything like that? What's that, Andrew?
Is it though?
No, not all the time. I think the truth, and I think the truth has two sides and three sides. You know, my truth, his truth, and the real truth. So
What?
It's a fact.
What does that
So,
even mean?
That is a fact.
That's super true.
There is no truth.
Wait, so
Is
this-
that true?
Yeah.
no
This
truth.
ties
It's a
really
fact.
well, I think. This ties really well, I think, into Vanessa's comment about thinking twice. So, how do you think about this little this debate, this
I don't think-
difference of opinions?
Anyone thought before they talked. I'm kidding. I believe that we had he let his emotions get to him while he was speaking a little bit, and that's where the mix of emotions came. But he had a great point in the beginning of the argument where you cannot let your you can't let all the anger and frustration of no matter what you're dealing with personally affect what you're trying to get through to the person that you are arguing with or having a conversation with, because then the other person's going to reflect on what you're feeling, and then that's where it gets worse and the argument progresses and no one's really talking. It's just blah, 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 I feel this way. You're not listening to me. I don't care what you say. This is how I feel. Besides it just being like, hey, what do you think? And actually having a simple talk. I talk first, you listen, then you talk, I listen, and that have an actual conversation, because it gets lost in all the emotions and stuff.
It's like what Anders said on the flip side. Don't just understand what everybody's goal is, but understand what you're trying to get out of the conversation. Right? Like, are you trying to actually accomplish something, or are you just trying to bitch and moan? Hey, listen, I'm all about venting once in a while, right?
So, but the question then is, how do you do that, Vanessa? Like, how? Because we're emotional animals. We're humans. How do you peel that off so that you don't let your shit?
Recently, I've been reading a book about the mind and the body and how it deals with trauma and stuff. And so, me personally, I have a lot of emotions. I'm probably the second emotional person here, maybe the first. But
Second is modest. Yeah.
so I was saying, I'm reading a book, and basically, what I think the best thing to do is to educate oneself on what they truly want. And that's, I think, the hardest question of the universe. Like, who are we? What do we want? What is our goal? What do we see ourselves 10 years, 20 years from now? None of that will ever get achieved unless we do the research ourselves to actually, go out, take 100% of the chances that we miss if we don't, and just think about, hey, what would make us happy? What is going to progress us? In a sense, as a band, what we individually all want to make it progress. It's super important. It's not just one person wants this, we got to do it their way. No, bands work as in we all input our specific wanting, and we all agree that, hey, that's a cool idea, or this is cool. Maybe that's not the best now, but it will be later. And then that's how progression works. And I feel like humanity, if it worked a little more simplistic and less attacking, would be so much easier. And it's all about thinking before you hurt someone and say the stuff that really will hurt the relationship at the end of the day.
Want to come back to all that for sure, because there's some stuff in there. But Tanis, you dropped listening. You dropped the listening bomb, which is a popular answer, but the descriptions are often different. So how do you think about listening especially in a heated moment?
We come into a lot of arguments here at the studio as a band. A lot of it stems from the fact that we're all striving to make the best product, which in our case is usually a song, right? Trying to record, write the best song. Most of the time we have a different idea of what that song is. We all hear it differently in our heads. And that's where the conflict arises. I want to add a guitar here. Andrew wants to play a fill here. Vanessa wants to play a lick there. And Gio wants to sing all over the entirety of it. So we argue. Some of us are way more heated than others, as in these three. Way more heated than I am, usually.
I think that vibe comes out pretty easily. It's good.
A lot. Yeah.
You're true to yourselves.
I think the most gets done. The most gets done when I sit back and I listen, and I speak second, or in this case fourth. Because after everybody says their piece, then you can kind of start putting it together, and fitting the pieces into the puzzle, figuring out what everybody really wants to do, and then moving on from there. So obviously it plays into what everybody else said. Think before you speak, understand the goal. Manage your emotions. Obviously that all matters. I'm just being practical and saying, do that by listening. Do that by shutting the fuck up.
So you pivot on this, Tanis, coming to the band and getting to a bit of the root of how you all work together. You said there are a lot of arguments, but you still create awesome, like that word argument has different connotations. Some people think of it as a productive disagreement between people. Some people think it's to be avoided because it's painful. Like, how do you all look at those arguments and then resolve them so you can put out amazing material, especially like floating?
We all have a lot of ideas. And it's tough to figure out which one is the best. But the best way of figuring out which one is the best is by listening to all of them. Somebody wants to cut a section, you cut that section, you listen to it, and then you determine how you feel about it. Because every idea is shut down immediately, then we won't get songs like Floating. We won't get songs that have a huge outro, almost cinematic feel, right? Where you're sent into this world and you're thrown out the other side feeling, changed, right? And that only comes from hearing everybody's ideas, everybody's vision of how that part of the song should be. So the best thing we do is we listen to each other. We hear out everybody's ideas and go from there.
Anybody else have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I always have thoughts. But the main thing is that since music is subjective and we're all influenced by different things, Tanis is like, I'll let him say it. What are you influenced by, buddy?
Some major influences of mine are Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, John Mayer, those kinds of guitarists, that kind of style.
I grew up listening to 90s rock and grunge with a hint of funk. So I would say something like that, and maybe some more modern.
Well, I grew up with all about punk. I listened to Taking Back Sunday, All Time Low, Bayside, all these underground mainstream bands back in the day because of my brother, honestly. But as a singer-songwriter, as I grew up and started to learn how to write, I have 5 actual artists that are all have their first letter as J, so I call them 5 Js. We have Jason Mraz, Jack Johnson, Jed Sharon, James Morrison, and John Mayer.
And I like psychedelic rock, I like hard rock, I like good music. So when you come and you put all of us into like a fruit basket and you try and make one thing, the only way it'll ever work is if we try like 90% of the ideas. I remember in Floating, we had the song end after the second chorus, after like the bridge after the second chorus or the post chorus. I don't know terminology, I'm a drummer. So we had it end after that. And then I remember jamming on Floating, no lyrics. Gio wasn't here, Vanessa wasn't here. It was me, Tanis, my dad, and another guitarist, and we were playing it. Then we slowed it down, then we sped it up, slowed it down, sped it up. And it was just a beautiful moment where everything came together. And I showed it to the band initially, they were hesitant. We can have an outro, but let's just only have a speed up. We can have an outro, but only a slow down. And then eventually, we're just like, if we nail it, and it took us like half a year. If we nail it, it can work. And it did. So the best thing is just trying ideas. And sometimes that's why this type of music takes forever, because it's four of us musicians and it's not, we're sitting at a computer, a plug and play. But I think the result, you see it.
You honor, y'all are like a poster band for honoring each other's diversity. I mean, it's the diversity of thought and experience that comes together and makes it sound so damn good. So that makes sense artistically. But then Vanessa, you brought up a point about everybody having different hopes and dreams. So even outside of just the music, how do you balance that? Because I mean, I think this is probably one of the things that probably ends up breaking bands up. I don't know. I'm not in a band. I've never been in a band. But like everybody has different things they want to achieve in life. Do y'all talk about that? Do you think about it?
Music.
Yeah.
I feel like, honestly, I'm so happy this question landed on me because it is my biggest struggle in this band.
Give her 2 mics.
Oh my God. It's the
we'll
biggest
zoom
struggle
in now on Vanessa for the next hour. Yeah.
In Banana Chant is balancing my work and income and coming here. Because we come here not to make money. We come here to make music and to be happy. And I said this like months ago to the band, and I like to feel that this is my safe space and I can come here and open up and not feel attacked. Like no matter what I say, oh, this, have a bad day and stuff, but they know that, I still come here because I find peace here. And my personal goal is to play music every single day for the rest of my life and, go touring and have our band be the band that shows that you can, have a dream of being 4 years old and playing around the world and that it can happen. And the hard part is about reality is, we need to have jobs and it's not easy to get a music job. Gio did it, but he worked his ass off going to school, getting a degree and to enter the music industry. Yeah, I mean, he did all that, but he did it. He got into what he wanted to do. He's producing for people. I just graduated, so I'm, the youngest one here. But I'm trying to figure out the balance of, if my dream is just money or if it's actually making music and then, the rest comes later. I don't have an answer. I do realize, though, that I would rather make music and suffer on the economical side than to have all the money in the world and not be making music. It's just not worth it.
That is a real reality that I think everybody faces, and most people don't even try to answer that question. Money first. Rodney and I talk about that all the time.
I miss the whole sellout conversation, right? Like, do I sell out?
Yeah, are we gonna just sell to be
comfortable,
a robot?
or do I pursue what I'm here for? How did the rest? I'd be curious to.
I'm curious to hear
how the rest of
Gio's
y'all
thoughts
feel
on all this.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the band for sure suffered for my absence. I started interning at a really big studio, and it took a lot of hours, but there wasn't even that. I started interning for a really big producer and like music business guy that's been around in the industry for 20 years, and he's opened the doors of a lot of opportunities for me. But that took a lot of time from the band. And at the peak, it was really stressful for everyone, especially Anders, since he had to take over with the TikTok and the Instagram and all that. And it was just a lot of big decisions of what should I do, But it came to where I had to drop a couple projects of mine because then I got hired as an engineer and as an audio engineer at the studio. So then I started getting money. Money isn't as much as the issue as it was before. I started meeting a bunch of artists, started producing for artists. Got my own artists that I'm helping out with, trying to build their career. And I'm just slowly but surely balancing my life for the band and with my own personal goals. It's still hard. It's still very frustrated. I had to cancel a meeting I had today for this because it was my fault. I thought it was Tuesday, but it was Wednesday, and I had to cancel a couple meetings I had to be here. But then now I have at 4 I have a session with another artist I have to meet up. But don't worry about that. So it's still hard. It's still very hard, but I still make time no matter what. Tuesdays and Thursdays is band only, and I make sure people know that. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 6, I'm not available. So you have to figure it out on yourself, of the artist and my internship and my other internship. I try to make that just it. And then also on the weekends when we have a gig, that's also a priority, and practice and all that.
I'm curious to get other takes on that, but one of the things I wonder is how do you manage not having resent? Because I think that's one of the things that could build up in a situation like that when somebody has other responsibilities and it hurts the group or it takes away from the group. And I say that from personal experience, being the one that does all the things that takes away from the other endeavors. How do you manage it, Gio, and then the rest of the band? Like, how do y'all look at it and manage it?
Just communication, honestly. I struggle with communication a lot. Yeah, ask my girlfriend. I struggle with communication a lot, and I'm trying to get better at that. But I believe that if I just somehow fixed my problem, I think my life will be extremely easier. And I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. How to just take 2 seconds and text, be like, "Hey, I'm late," or "Hey, I'll be there," or "Let's reschedule," or do this and that. It just, for some reason, it's really hard mentally to do that and to remember stuff and all that. I'm trying to get a planner, trying to start writing things down, but that's not really helping. So I'm still trying to figure it out. Right? I'm just like back and forth.
I appreciate the honest reflection in that answer. It's like a simple answer, but like a real honest answer, and I feel that in my being. What about the rest of y'all? How do y'all feel about it?
What it comes down to is how we react to everyone else's schedules, and we can choose to be resentful, but the doesn't help anything. So the solution is making, every time we are in the studio, every time we're outside of the studio, every time we have a moment where we can focus on Banana Chant, to put all the effort into that. If we're here and we're on our phones, then we're not doing anything, and then it defeats the purpose. What does it matter if someone sacrificed some time to come here, right? So this comes with time, and you have to learn to understand that Banana Chant isn't the end all be all, and it hasn't been, because it's hard to make it as a musician, as a band whose only source of funding is ourselves. Now we're selling merchandise and stuff, but it's not like we sold 1 billion shirts. Our stream numbers aren't through the roof, but that's not important. We're doing it because we love it, and hopefully eventually people will see that and like it for that. So in the meantime, all we really can do is just be patient and find the best ways to work around everyone's schedules.
Mm-hmm. If I could add on to that.
Please.
We've definitely come from a long way. I would say 2 years ago, the way that we did things, the way that we rehearsed and practiced was different, not necessarily worse, but now I feel like we have found a way around scheduling and around not having everyone here all the time. Like yesterday, I couldn't be here during the daytime, but I know that the singer and the guitar came, and then at night, I came with Ander, and we finished the bass line for a new song. So as long as we all put in the little amount of time that we can put in, or as much as we want to come to the studio late at night or early in the morning or at our normal time on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's what really pushes us forward. It's not about all of us being here 24% of it, like 24/7. It's about giving our 100% every single time we are here, just like Ander was saying. And I think that's a huge goal that we accomplished as a team, to be more productive, get things done. And then when we're all here, perspective, listen to what we did. What sounds better? What sounds worse? Oh my God, this is amazing. Like today, we created beautiful music.
What's your take, Tanis?
I think we work best when we're all here, which makes sense. It's unfortunate that we can't be here all the time, all four of us. Sometimes we have to section off. Like Vanessa said, you know, 2 of us come, 2 of us go later. We've said a very common statement we say during practice is, oh, just practice that at home. You know, practice it at home, come here and then play it. And even that's hard because at home you're, you know, doing other things. You have a life, right? I think we have all grown a lot since we started playing music together, and we've all been way more accepting of each other's schedules, you know, understanding that sometimes someone else just can't make it, you know, and as important as it is, they can't, and you have to accept it. And we've gotten a lot better at making those exceptions and being accepting of those situations. And I think it's a testament to the fact that we know each other way better now. We're way more in tune with what each other wants. We know each other's goals. We feel for each other. You know, we care about each other. That also luckily shows up in our music. I think you can tell that there's this bond that we have between the instruments, between the vocals, the guitar, the drums, and the bass, but how things kind of meld together in our songs, and how you're not coming out of it thinking like, wow, that part was cool, but this part wasn't. It's almost like the bass is cool because the guitar is cool, because the drums are cool, because the vocals are cool, you know? And that's something we didn't have before, something we have now, something that takes time. Something that we worked on, whether passively or consciously. You know, we spent a lot of time together and we figured out what works best. That's not to say we don't have room to grow. Obviously, we're getting better. Every song we write, every song we release is better than the last one. Every time we come to the studio, we're more accepting of each other, and I think that's a good thing.
Harmony is something to always strive for. It doesn't always work, even in life. Through all of this, though, I'm curious.
I'm finding myself super surprised by the parallels between their journey and our journey, Keith.
Yeah, there's definitely some, but that would bring me to the question of, like, it is 2-parter. I try to avoid them, but they're connected. Like, hey, let's take a pause right there. Hope you're enjoying this conversation. And if you want some more like it with some musicians that we've talked to, I definitely recommend checking out Isabel Stillman's episode 117. Instead of a band, it's an individual working through her process and all of the things that she thinks about as she's building her aspirational career in music. So I definitely check that out. And if you like this episode, if you like what we're doing, if you like more in common, give us a like, leave us a review. Hey, share us, tell your friends about us, because we certainly want to help promote this message of compassion and just keep it growing and keep it going. Okay, we'll see you in a couple days with part 2.